Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at one of the biggest demographic shifts happening right now, but it's happening so quietly.
Right.
We're talking about millions of people, over the age of 55, and they're realizing that the old blueprint for work, for stability, even for retirement, it just doesn't really fit anymore.
It doesn't. But they aren't panicking. That's the key thing.
No, not at all. It feels much more methodical, like they're just quietly redefining their futures on their own terms. So our mission today is to dig into the sources you sent us, particularly that roadmap laid out by Warren Breakwell and the Senior Entrepreneur Hub. We want to unpack the systematic, the step-by-step path he outlines for building a real sustainable second income online.
And crucially, it's all built on the most powerful asset this generation has.
Which is?
Decades of life experience, professional experience,
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah, and what's so striking when you first get into Breakwell's material is the context. He's very clear. This isn't some reaction to a sudden crisis.
Right, it's not a panic move. No.
Yeah.
It's just a simple, honest recognition that the world has changed. I mean, you look around, climbing cost of living, global instability.
Fixed incomes that just don't go as far.
They just don't. And that old promise, the lifelong corporate job, the secure retirement, it's just not a reliable safety net anymore.
And you have to remember, Breakwell's insights, they carry a lot of weight because he's lived it.
You walk the walk.
Exactly. 37 years running his own business. Then he hits that exact moment of needing continued stability, but he needed a totally new way to earn it, a more flexible way.
And that's what led him to create the Senior Entrepreneur Hub. So this isn't, academic theory.
No, it's a practical guide. It's a survival guide almost from someone who actually figured it out.
And it's really important to get his motivation right. It wasn't about, getting rich quick. It was about finding a new kind of stability, a new kind of control. He's basically providing a blueprint for the person who's thinking, look, I have the experience, I have the wisdom, I just need a steady income source that I'm in charge of.
Instead of one that's in charge of me.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack those two words then. Stability and control. Because the sources really hammer this home. People over 55 are looking for this shift because the traditional job market, it just doesn't promise those things anymore.
Not reliably. If you have a fixed income, every wave of inflation threatens that stability.
And if you're still working, you're dealing with, late career job insecurity, or maybe just feeling like you're trading way too much of your time for not enough return.
Yeah, that lack of control, that's often the breaking point. And that's what Breakwell's solution addresses head on. He suggests exploring an online business, and he specifically points to affiliate marketing as a great entry point.
Okay, let's pause there for a second, because for someone who is maybe a bit digitally cautious, a term like affiliate marketing can sound
complicated,
maybe even a little intimidating. So how do we define that in the simplest way possible?
Of course. I mean, at its core, affiliate marketing is just recommending products or services you genuinely believe in.
So it's recommendation.
It's the business of recommendation. You earn a small commission when someone buys something through your unique link. And the crucial part, as the source points out, is you never handle the product. No inventory, no shipping, no customer service.
You're just the trusted connector.
That's it.
That clarity helps a lot. And the beauty of it, like you said, is the integration. You can build something without blowing up your entire life or having to, clock in every day.
It's about finding a way to earn that fits where you are today. It gives you control over when you work and how much you work.
But the internet is just so full of these loud, bright promises that, frankly, don't deliver. How does Breakwell's approach specifically reassure someone that they don't have to be 25 or a coding genius to even start?
That's a fundamental question, and he really addresses it directly. The key reassuring fact is this. You don't need advanced tech skills.
Really?
Yeah, because the methods he talks about use simple existing platforms.
Mm-hmm.
The tools are often just point-and-click simple. But even more important is that you are not starting from scratch. Your foundation is your experience. This isn't about learning a brand new trade from the ground up. It's about translating the wisdom you already have into a different format.
Mm-hmm.
And if we connect that to the deeper point in the source material, it's that this generation's life experience matters so much more than they usually give themselves credit for.
They downplay it.
They completely downplay it. They tend to minimize all the skills they've built up outside of, a formal job title. I mean, we're not just talking about working hard. We're talking about spending decades running a household budget, navigating a complex medical system,
Negotiating with contractors.
or managing a team of volunteers. These are high-level, real-world skills. budgeting, problem solving, negotiation, conflict resolution.
That is such a powerful reframing. It shows how that everyday knowledge is actually authority. If you spent 30 years as an admin assistant, you are an absolute expert in structure and order.
Hmm?
If you managed a difficult employee, you're an expert in conflict resolution. And those skills translate perfectly to niches like, I don't know, productivity consulting or B2B advice.
Exactly. And this realization ties directly into how online business actually works. As Breakwell explains it, the online world doesn't really reward speed or flashiness.
So what does it reward?
It rewards consistency, trust, and authority that's built over time. It rewards you for just showing up, doing a little bit every day, and sticking with it.
And this is where this generation has a massive and I think often unacknowledged competitive advantage.
I agree.
They grew up understanding the value of patience, of delayed gratification, of sustained effort. The whole, chaotic, quick burn startup culture is often actually counterproductive for building long-term trust online.
It is. The very strengths of this group, patience and persistence, are exactly what the online trust economy values most.
Yeah.
So the shift usually starts with this quiet internal moment. Maybe work just feels heavier, physically or emotionally. Maybe money's a little tighter.
Or you just want something easier to manage.
Yeah, just something that fits this season of life better. And Breakwell frames that internal question, that what now moment, not as a failure.
Or a crisis.
Not at all. He sees it as the honest, mature start of a really constructive journey. You're just recognizing that the vehicle you use for income needs to adapt to the road you're on.
Now, to show this isn't just one person's powerful idea, let's bring in some global validation, because this quiet, methodical shift, it's happening on a huge scale.
A massive scale.
We have some specific global stats that confirm just how mainstream earning a second income online has really become.
The numbers are, they're staggering. Recent global research shows millions and millions of people are earning online. Specifically, some studies have identified more than 160 million freelancers worldwide.
Wow.
That number alone should just banish any idea that this is some, fringe activity or a passing trend. This is a recognized part of the economy now.
160 million. That scale is mind-boggling. So if you're out there feeling like you're the only one wanting a change, look at that number. And we can get even more specific.
We can. The source is concerned that across major economies, like the UK, the US, Canada, and Australia, it's roughly 1 in 9 workers.
1 in 9.
1 in 9 is already earning money or supplementing their income through online platforms. It just confirms this is the new, mainstream, different way forward.
Yeah.
And to make this really tangible, let's look at a case study from the material. Mary Thompson. She's a 62-year-old Canadian retiree, a former administrative assistant.
Okay.
When she realized her pension just needed a bit of a supplement, she turned to affiliate marketing.
What I love about Mary Thompson's story is her niche. It's so relatable. She didn't try to become some tech guru. She focused on something she already loved.
Gardening.
Gardening and sustainable practices. She started a small blog, a simple email list, just sharing her expertise, her favorite tools, her ethical product recommendations.
And her success really highlights that translation of experience we were just talking about. Her admin background didn't teach her how to code, but it gave her structure, consistency, organizational skills. She just applied that consistency to her gardening niche. She showed up week after week, built trust, and she nurtured this really loyal following.
And that steady, methodical approach, the very quality she perfected in her first career, is what created that steady income stream for her retirement.
She's a perfect example. Patience, not speed, is what wins.
Mary Thompson's story really anchors this whole idea in reality. So for the listener who's now thinking, okay, how do I start my Mary Thompson journey? This next part, the path forward, needs to be crystal clear.
Absolutely. The source really stresses simple, practical first steps.
The goal here is to avoid that paralysis that the internet is so famous for, right?
Exactly. The path forward starts with a little internal audit. So Breakwell advises you, the listener, to do this. 1, just identify your existing skills and interests. 2, actually list them out. 3, specific skills or interests you've built up over your life. Focus on things you genuinely enjoy or know a lot about.
And 3,
choose a niche you're passionate about, because that passion is the fuel. It's what keeps you going when things get a little tough. But you do need to apply a bit of a filter to those interests. The sources suggest asking a few questions like, does this topic solve a problem for other people?
That's a good one.
Is there a low barrier to entry for me? And does it align with who I am now? This is what transforms a simple interest like, say, collecting stamps into a potential niche, like helping new collectors avoid scams using my 40 years of experience. See the difference?
Okay, but here's the challenge. The online world is also full of people trying to sell you the secret formula, the quick money shortcut.
Hmm.
If someone over 55 is, inherently cautious, how does Breakwell's step-by-step approach specifically filter out those risks and build trust in the process itself?
That is so vital. And Breakwell constantly warns against those loud, over-the-top promises. His whole method is basically countercultural to the get-rich-quick world.
So it's about the steady approach protecting you.
It does, because those rapid, complex schemes always require a massive upfront investment or some overwhelming technical setup. Those are instant red flags for this demographic. Instead, he advises starting small, really small and simple. Maybe you just watch a short 5-minute video on affiliate marketing. Or maybe you just spend an hour listing those 3 skills.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
He explicitly says not to go launch some complex website or a big social media campaign at the start. Focus on a simple medium you can control, like an email newsletter or a very, very basic blog.
So you're building confidence without high-stakes digital exposure.
Exactly. It directly addresses the digital fears that many people in this cohort have.
So it sounds like the whole strategy is built on this principle that small, consistent steps, they build confidence. And that confidence, when you couple it with experience, that's what eventually builds that predictable, steady second income.
That's the formula. It's about sustainable growth, not overnight success.
So as we kind of pull all this together, the core takeaway is that this quiet shift is all about leveraging the deep well of experience you already have to build an honest, steady, and controllable second income. It's designed to be a calm, clear, step-by-step way forward that really respects your wisdom and where you are in life.
And it's so important to remember, you don't have to walk this path alone. The sources mention this again and again. The importance of community and support.
Yes.
You are really encouraged to seek out a community of like-minded people, the online forums that are often associated with this kind of mentorship, so you can ask questions, share your small wins, and just get advice from people who actually get it, who understand this journey.
And we'll leave you with this one final provocative thought to consider. It builds directly on that first practical step we talked about.
If the absolute foundation of success in the online world is just showing up consistently and sticking with it, and these are qualities this generation understands better than any other, small 5-minute thing related to one of those lifelong interests you've now identified, are you going to approach differently today?
Because that decision, that choice to translate experience into a small action.
That is the only true starting line.